time management. You remember success? You remember that one thing you achieved, that one thing you overcame? Why did that happen? One way or another, you were intentional about your time. Certainly you were intentional and persistent about your beliefs, whether you were happy about it or not. And look, there's too many options out there on what we should be doing. So we must fight for our time. First things first, let's get clarity around our why, because our why is what's going to commit us to our time. Your why is going to tie you closely enough to the things that you're not really comfortable doing. So I got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. My why is going to drive me through that. Now, look, in spite of my mindset, in spite of the mindset of the people around me, in spite of the conditions and circumstances that I'm under, in spite of the failures, in spite of the lack of the results, the why is what's going to drive. So I got to tie my why. Now, look, remember how your why got you this far. Because it has. You've been thinking about where you're headed or what you're trying to get away from. And to refresh or establish my why, that's what's going to energize the commitment. So ask yourself, why? And ask yourself at least 6 times, why is that important? What will that do for me? Why is that important? What will that do for me? Why is that important? What will that do for me? And you'll drill down on your why, because a lot of us, we just haven't even had the conversation with ourselves in regards to why. Why is this important? How is this going to change my life? How do I want my life to change? How do I want the people around me life to change? Because look, money isn't your why. It's about what you want the money to do for you. You're talking about financial freedom. You don't even know what it is. You don't even know how you want it to affect you and your relationships and your experiences. What else is important to you? Why is success in business important to you? What happens if it doesn't happen? You got to go back to the JOB. You got to clock the 9 to 5 again. Look, I was at a point in 2008, January 2008, Las Vegas, Nevada. The market housing crisis is crashing, and I decided to start a real estate career. And in that perfect timing, my why was crystal clear. Because look, I was done. You ever been at a point in your life where you were just done? You're done. Maybe you're done now. And I was done, even though I was making 6 figures, waiting tables in gourmet restaurants, waiting on celebrities and the world's wealthy. I was done. And I wanted my life to change. I had a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old and a young, beautiful wife. And my why was in plain sight. So how is your why in plain sight? Maybe you need to write it out or tell people about it. Keep it visible. Write it down as a visual reminder on what you're fighting for so that you can be consistent with your schedule. Now, your why is yours. So just like your schedule needs to be yours based on what motivates and works for you, don't base your why or your schedule on someone else's, because structure equals success. And so it's easy to get lost. Remember, we said there's too many things to do. I get too easily distracted. And so there's lots of pieces to this entrepreneurship puzzle. And remembering that, look, sometimes I'm just going to get lost, and that's just called okay and being human. But those systems and procedures, ultimately, that's what the schedule allows me to do, is create systems and procedures, what I'm doing when. Every major success is based on them. Not sometimes, always. And so with structure, you can begin consistency. And with consistency, you've won half the battle. Now, I can already hear some of those drunk monkeys clanging and going, Paul, I'm not good at success. I'm not good at time management. I'm not good at keeping a schedule. I'm never on time. I don't believe that. Well, maybe you're not on time, but when you were employed, you were, or you wouldn't have been employed for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And so look, you've already done this. With an employer, you've had a strict schedule. You're even told when to take breaks or go to the bathroom or eat. Look, you've done this. And so look, now since you're your own boss, you need to stick to a schedule and this is critical to remaining employed for yourself. And you were ultimately committed to accountability. And so look, accountability is the fastest way to stay on track. Share accountability with a like-minded person or someone who's also wanting accountability. Now, look, I can make it fun. I can make it painful. Accountability with rewards or consequences is truly effective. But it doesn't have to be about if you show up weekly and you don't do what you said you're going to do, you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do, or you're going to have to pay some sort of consequence, or that if you do say what you're going to do, you're going to attain a reward. That's all awesome. But remember, accountability is about the conversation. It's another relationship, actually, right? On your ability to be in conversation with someone else. So it can just be about showing up and having a conversation so that you can stay focused and stay top of mind with the clarity around why. Why am I doing this? And so the accountability is just yet another opportunity for another relationship for you to be able to stay on track and keep on the forefront of why this is important and what's the real reason that you're doing this now. And so look, your schedule's got to be specific. Time block everything, label it. Who are you prospecting when? And when are you preparing for the appointment or the marketing or the advertising or the contracts or whatever it is that you're doing? Every little thing counts. Label it, slap it on your calendar, because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. Okay? So you got to become fanatical about time blocking. Remember, how bad do you really want this? Why is this important? What are you doing this for? I wasn't so good at numbers and scheduling and all the little intricacies of systems and procedures. It wasn't me, but I had to get that way so I can understand that that's where I was going. I was going to need to have that skill. Now, look, maybe you need a not to do list. Maybe you need to be a little bit neglectful about some of those things that you should not do or do less of. What are those things? Okay. Hey, I should have said this earlier, but hey, if you haven't already subscribed or followed me on our Facebook community groups, smash that button. I appreciate you. And look, it's important to be able to share and to be able to be in community. So I appreciate you subscribing or following. All right, I'm going to give you a golden rule in Paulie's playbook. And that's my playbook to success in real estate. You can get that by emailing me at therealsalestalk@gmail.com, therealsalestalk@gmail.com. Now, look, the golden rule, what we've been talking about with time management transcends just my business in real estate, in the industry of real estate. But this is for anyone who's an entrepreneur, anyone who's actually looking for success, more success in their life, okay? One of the golden rules in the playbook is specific schedule equals specific results. Random schedule equals random results. And so your schedule's got to be seen. And because technology is fantastic, it can be your friend. Make it visible on your computer, your phone, your tablet, your desk. Now, if you're old school and you need a printed schedule in multiple places, look, that's fine. But what's cool is that with technology, you can really have it at your fingertips and keep it visible for you to be able to have mind share and be able to focus on that literally on an hourly basis to be able to keep recalibrating back to what it is that I should be doing. And look, be flexible. Give yourself some flexibility with your schedule because it's a work in progress. And if you do have to erase it, replace it, but make that an exception, not a standard for you continuing to not do what you're supposed to be doing. It's called time bleeding, and I am a repeat offender on my time bleeding. So my time bleeding into other time blocks. So I'm doing something, and what I'm doing bleeds into another time block of what I should be doing. Did that ever happen to you? Happens to me all the time. That's why I have a separate screen, computer screen up on my workstation, specifically designated for my schedule, so that I can keep it at the forefront of my mind all day long. Because I'm time bleeding, and when I'm bleeding, my time bleeds, I'm gonna die. Right? My day's gonna die, and so I got to be real cognizant and have a real awareness with what's happening during my day. And look, if I do have to erase something and I replace it, look, that's called okay, because I have to understand that I need to be flexible and changes are okay. Because imagine if you did 75% of what you said you were going to do. Now, the scary part is how much do you do of what you say you're going to do now? Is it 20%, 30%, 40%? I'd be surprised if it's 50%. Imagine if it was 75%, how that would begin to change your life and just how big of a win that would be. So look, give yourself some grace. A bad hour doesn't equal a bad day. A bad day doesn't equal a bad week. A bad week doesn't equal a bad month. A bad month doesn't equal a bad year. Look, make adjustments. It's called life. Now, the good news is that you've already had success with consistency at some levels in some other area of your life. Remember that? Now look, tie your why. Get to work. Appreciate you following. Please share, subscribe. Talk to you soon. Thanks for your time.